Oh no! Everything is falling apart! Not really.
3, 2, 1, action.
Everybody, welcome to another episode of FAQOV with your host, Phil Freeman, where I answer all of your questions having to do with singing and speaking and using your voice in a happy and healthy way. And today's question is a fantastic question that I actually get a lot. And it's a question that every student should ask, especially at the beginning of their study. And the question is, how do I know what's right and what's wrong based on my research? And this is a very common question among people that are browsing YouTube. You're probably watching this right now on YouTube, and you're wondering whether what I have to say is going to work for you. And that's a very important question to ask yourself. It shows that you're taking responsibility for your own development when you ask that question. So, and also, there's so much opportunity for information overwhelm, where you get so much contradictory information, it's getting to the point where you're almost pulling your hair out. And today's a hat day for me because my hair, it looks ridiculous. And if I pull it out, it's going to look even worse, you know? So anyway, coming back to this, here are some basic questions that you can ask yourself to make sure that you are not hurting yourself and that you are taking the right information. So, first of all, based on what you're doing, based on the advice that you are taking, number one, can you talk at the end of a singing set? So, say that you're singing for 30 minutes using a certain technique. Can you talk at the end of it properly, clearly, with health, with happiness? If not, that's something you should evaluate. Number two, are you feeling energized after that set? Or do you feel depleted? If you feel any sense of negative depletion, if you feel like, oh God, like, ow, like if you feel injured, if you don't feel energized and feel like you could do it again, that's another thing that you need to note. 3, do you feel strain 80% of the time or freedom 80% of the time? Because yes, there are going to be times where you hit a wrong note or you crack or there's something that goes bleh, or you splat, etc., so on and so forth. But if you are feeling strained 80% of the time, if you feel at the end of a singing session or at the end of a voice lesson that you are like strained and that there's tension, especially here in the throat, then there's something that needs to be amended. So, given that, the fourth question you should ask yourself is, based on the voice trainer that you are listening to or the advice that you're taking, is the voice trainer that I'm listening to, do they have a track record of good performance? Do they have videos of themselves performing? Do I like the sound of their voice? Do I like the sound of of their examples? Because if you don't take their advice. For God's sake, if you do not like the sound of my speaking voice, and if you do not like the sound of my singing voice and my performances, or the way that I do my warm-ups, stop watching this video right now. Unsubscribe. Stop. Like, for goodness sake. I mean, here's what I mean by that. Like, if you don't like the style, well, whatever. If you can appreciate it for what it is and you like what the musicality of what I do, fantastic. But if you don't like the physical sound of my voice, whether singing or speaking, stop watching this. Stop taking my advice and go find something else that works for you. For goodness sake, if there's one thing that's so important, it's taking accountability and responsibility as a student to take what you feel is going to work for you and implement it. A really great parallel that I like to use is, comparing the vocal industry, the singing industry, to the fitness industry. There are so many ways that people can stay healthy. They can stay healthy by running, they can stay healthy by CrossFit, they can stay healthy by powerlifting or bodybuilding, etc., so on and so forth. And every single one of those things has a different way of going about it. of a different way to get to the same place, which is fitness, health, and happiness. So, for example, and this is so funny, people in, the CrossFit industry will say bad things about people that are in the powerlifting industry and vice versa. They'll say, oh, don't you dare, squat past parallel, or don't you dare do this, or don't you dare lift heavy, or don't you dare do CrossFit, or blah, blah, blah. And everybody's like, ah, you suck. No, you suck. No, this sucks. And this sucks. You suck. This is BS. You're BS. And there's just like this constant debate about everything. So here's the thing. At the end of the day, do what works for you and be so self-aware that you understand what works for you and have the confidence to know what works for you. So don't let the back and forth and the calling out and the overly crazy critiques over everything overwhelm you. Get through the noise and look for what works for you by asking yourself those 4 questions. And do what works. Hopefully that answers your questions. To anybody who's watching this, I appreciate your time. I appreciate everyone's support, and that I hope that my development as a voice coach here on YouTube and throughout the 5 years that I've been doing this full time has proven useful to everyone that's watching this. And I continue to hope that I grow and perfect what I'm doing here. And always remember, ladies and gentlemen, practice makes progress. And with that, you can go and find your voice. Take care until the next video.